There we go. So I am filling in an office today, so I don't have my extra monitor. So I will be bopping back and forth between the chat and presenting just to make sure there's no questions. But I'm not going to be able to have the chat up all the time. So you can also unmute yourself if you do have any questions as we go along. We do have some changes this year from what we've talked about in the past with our Moxi campaigns. And that's just because we've gotten to a point in our campaign, our regular holiday campaign especially, where we've run out of room. We can't just continue adding as the years go on as we have in the past. So we have to make sure that we get the message out that we need to add the annual campaign on a yearly basis moving forward, instead of just relying on us here on the Moxi team to continue adding those emails to the existing campaign. So we're going to talk about two things. We're going to do a refresher on making sure that we get a campaign added and how to get that up and running. And then we're also going to go over how to stop the continuing campaign. Because what we did do is we did add enough holiday e-cards to the continuing campaign until we ran out of space, just for those agents that are running that campaign and don't get the message right away. Like maybe by Valentine's Day, they don't get the message that they have to start a new one. So we wanted to make sure that that card went out. But once you add the new 2022 campaign, we want to walk through the steps of turning this one off, so you're not sending out two Valentine cards from two different campaigns. So we'll get started with adding a campaign. And to add a campaign, you have to add it from the library. So we're going to go to awaiting setup. Those are the campaigns that we're getting ready to run. So I don't have any that I'm getting ready to run. I have to go out to the library to find the campaign that I want to use moving forward. So I'm going to click on the blue Add from Library button to find that new 2022 holiday campaign. I did get a message this morning that Engage is running a little slow, but seems to be working okay to get to the campaigns. So this right here, 2022 holiday campaign, that is the one that we're looking to add. That's the one that's got all of the holidays for 2022. So we do want to get that added to our campaign so that we can start sending it out. We want to take it out of the brokerage library and put it into our campaigns by clicking Add to Campaigns. You can always preview a campaign by clicking the preview button to see what's in it, but this is just the standard holiday campaign with all of those holidays: Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, all of those campaigns here. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this by clicking Add to Campaigns. I guess I should have double checked that everyone can see my monitor, but I don't have any questions. So obviously you can. And then it is taking a moment to add. Okay. And I get the confirmation that it has added. I wasn't paying attention. I probably have added it twice now. So I can go ahead and close this right here. And now, yep, I added it twice, but now you'll see that it is in my campaigns. So I'm going to go to the one without the number beside it. We can actually learn how to archive by going back to this one in a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and go to this one. And this is the campaign that I actually want to activate, and I want to start sending out to my sphere. So to get it running, I'm going to click on the name of the campaign right here. And now here it is. So there's a couple things. I do want to mention the edit schedule. We're going to look at why this is not a good idea, nor is editing any of the emails. We'll look at that in just a minute, but I wanted to point out that that is an option, but it's not an option I recommend. All we're really worried about when we are setting up a campaign is this section right here that says recipients. We want to set up the recipients section. And once it opens up the setup box, we want to add recipients. So once we click add recipients, the pop-up box comes up. It defaults to the people tab. I recommend going straight to groups, because normally, especially with the holiday campaigns, you want to get these out to as many people as possible. So there's a couple options. If you have set up a group that you just want that group to receive these, you can look through your groups here and find that group. But for the holiday campaign and the home maintenance campaign, I highly recommend just clicking this default one here. Even if you haven't set up groups, you're going to have the option to send to all current contacts. So you would just click that box right here. And that would add everybody in your sphere, everybody in your Moxi Engage platform to this email campaign. And then you would just click the add button right down here. And that's going to add everybody. I have a few people that in my contacts that I don't want to receive. So I'm going to go back to people and just click on a fake one just so that you can see how to stop a campaign as well. So you would click groups, all current contacts, and add. So now I have my recipients and I can click the save button. You would have all current contacts listed here. So my recipients is set up. The brokerage has set up the campaign schedule and all the emails. So now what I do, the last step is to make sure I come up here, and sometimes it does take a minute or two for this button to activate depending on how big your sphere list is, but you're going to come up here and you're going to make sure to click run campaign. And again, that's going to take a couple minutes. Hopefully not a couple minutes, just a minute or two, but there you go. It's going to automatically pop you back to your library. And you'll see now, if I go to running, that 2022 holiday campaign is now in my running section. If you want to go to all campaigns, you can see what's happening with all the different campaigns you may or may not have run or added as well. And you'll see that that's right here. And it does say that it's running. Now, when I mentioned not editing anything in a campaign, it's because of this right here. You always want to make sure, especially with your ongoing campaigns, that it does say synced. What that means is, say the campaign right now, for some reason, the actual image for the Valentine's Day card disappeared. So I need to go back in and fix that. But if you are not synced, once I go in and do that, it's not going to backfill into your account. So you always want to make sure that it says brokerage and synced, because that means if we make a change at our end, it's going to reflect in the campaign that you're running. It's going to save over into what's going out for you. And that was really important as we went into COVID a couple years ago, because we updated our Thanksgiving and our Christmas cards to reflect the new culture we were in that year. So little changes like that do happen at the brokerage level. So you'll want to make sure that you are synced with our changes as we move forward through the year. And double check, chat box looks good. Oops. Okay, just checking the chat box, guys, sorry. So that's how you add a campaign. And we're actually going to add another one after I go through the steps of stopping a campaign, just so you can get in the practice of adding them. But as I mentioned, we do have the ongoing campaign that many people might be running. And that's this one. Let's go to my running campaigns. So I clicked on running. That's this one right here, the one that says holiday e-cards without a year after it. You'll notice it has 2022 emails in it, but it doesn't go through to the end of the year because I wasn't able to add that many new emails to the campaign that we had running. So what I want to do is, now that I have the annual one, the one that's just 2022, I want to shut this one off so that there's not 2 cards going out for every holiday. So to stop a campaign, again, you'll go to your running and you'll find the one that you no longer want to be using, and you'll click on the name. Sorry, Engage does run a little slow sometimes. All right, so now we're actually on the campaign setup page. This one's already set up. What we want to do is stop it. There's 2 things you can do. You can just pause the campaign, but that leaves it kind of in your library and gets in the way of stuff. What I prefer to do is to actually archive the campaign. When you click the archive button, not only does it take it out of your actives and awaiting setups, it actually stops it as well. So I'm going to click archive. Sorry, there we go. And then there's one additional step that you can do if you prefer to just totally clear it out. But you'll notice I'm in my running campaigns, and the only one that now shows is the 2022 holiday campaign. I did stop the other one by archiving it. If I just don't want it anymore, I don't even want to see it in my all campaigns or my archived, I can go into my archived, find the campaign that I just don't want anymore, this holiday e-card. So I'm going to click on it again. And now you'll see where it said archived last time, it actually says delete. So if you totally want to remove a campaign from your personal library, you first archive it, then you can go back in and actually delete that campaign from your system. So that's just a nice little way to keep things clean and to keep things from getting clogged up with too many campaigns. So now my archive is only 2, there's not 3 anymore. That one is now gone. I have my 2022 holiday campaigns up and running. And now just real quick, I know we're hitting that 15-minute mark, but we're going to go ahead and just add one more campaign that I think is really important to the system. And just, again, a practice for getting those in, because it's just adding it from the library and going out to the brokerage. It's not always an intuitive process. So just running it through real quick again, just kind of sets it into memory. So I'm going to go to add to library. And this time I'm looking for the 2022 seasonal home maintenance. And I want to add that to my campaigns. What that one is on each of the equinoxes and solstices, there's an email that goes out, hey, it's almost spring, check your air conditioner, check this, check that. It's a really nice email reminder of things that people need to do to keep their house up and running for the season that we're moving into. It goes out again 4 times a year. So it helps fill in the gaps for some of those months that don't have holidays, and it's just a nice way to stay in touch. So I'm going to click add to campaigns. And now I've got that confirmation that it has been added to my campaign. And if I go to my awaiting setup, I now have my 2022 seasonal home maintenance that I can set up. So I'll click on seasonal home maintenance. Now, the seasonal home maintenance ongoing campaign, we did have enough room to add that for all of 2022, but I think it's just a really good idea to get into the habit of doing these both annually moving forward. Now that we know that we're not going to be able to continue doing really long campaigns that go from year to year to year. So just getting in the habit of going annually instead of expecting it to be filled in for you at the end of the season or the end of that year is a good habit to get into. But again, you'll want to follow those archive steps if you're running the seasonal home maintenance that isn't annual. And I see some questions. We'll get to those in just a minute. I'm just going to finish setting this one up really quick by hitting setup, add recipients, groups, all current contacts, and add. Once those contacts get added, or you save them and they get added, the run campaign button highlights, and now you are running the seasonal home maintenance campaign. So any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat. I do have a couple. Okay, and yeah, so we have so many states and territories now that it is pointed out that seasonal home maintenance as well for the USBI, some of the holidays are different. So especially for the holidays, if somebody could go ahead and send me an email of what specific holidays you may want, we can powwow as a Moxi team and see if we can get that added. And the seasonal home maintenance campaign, I'll mark it on my calendar for us to chit chat about that one too. We may need to reach out to one of the ASCs down there and see what we would need to do to tweak that for your market so that we can make sure that we are utilizing these for all of our regions and that the information is correct. Other than that, I just highly recommend these to everybody. I did have an agent reach out last week who was not going to be in the office today and really wanted this refresher because she said that this is just a really important part of her business. And every time one of these emails goes out, she gets calls and emails from her sphere letting her know how much they appreciate it. So it's a great way to stay in touch with your sphere. I hope everyone is using it and taking advantage of these tools in Moxi. And if you have any questions, as always, don't hesitate to reach out to your Moxi team. That's what we're here for. So yeah, any questions? I'll stay on for a minute or two and throw them at me. I'm Judy Luptak, J-U-D-I. If you search in the directory, I should come up. I'm in the Western Michigan area. I'm an RSC up here. So in fact, I'll type my name because my last name's a little tricky.
Judy, I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is Patty from Elk Rapids.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just curious with these campaigns, when you put in the recipients, do the emails automatically are addressed to them personally?
The emails are more like an e-card. So it doesn't say, hi, Joe, blah, 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 blah. It's just an e-card that opens up and it has a nice little message below.
Okay.
And I actually believe some of them do put the name in. I would have to double check.
Okay. I was just curious. I like to send these to my agents so they kind of get an idea of what is available on Moxi.
Absolutely. Great idea.
Okay. Thanks.
And yes, we are recording this, Sharon.
Thanks, Judy.
You're welcome. Yeah, the video will be posted in Schmidt Video Classroom. All right, well, everyone have a wonderful week. Stay warm if you're up here in the Great White North, and everyone else enjoy, and we'll see you next Monday.
Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely.